Hello everyone, my name is Danny and my guest today is 2022 lightweight world champion Ffion Davies. Ffion, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. So you had an amazing run at the Worlds this year, winning your first world title. I know you were really emotional after you came off the podium, but now that you've had a couple days to kind of digest the result and sit with it, how are you feeling a few days removed from the Worlds?
I feel quite content. I feel like for a long time I was so worried that I wouldn't be able to win Worlds, and it was like the biggest goal I've had in Jiu-Jitsu for obvious reasons. It's such a tough tournament. So I feel like now a lot of pressure is off me, especially as like I'm in my late 20s and I do want to open a school and focus more on teaching eventually. And I was just sort of worried that it would be something that wouldn't happen for me. So I feel like now I'm a lot more content. I feel a lot happier. I don't know. I feel like I put so much pressure on it that it was really like eating at me. So I feel a lot better now. Yeah.
You've won a lot of other really big tournaments. You even won the open class at the Europeans as a black belt, also won Brazilian Nationals. How does the Worlds kind of compare to some of the other big titles that you've won in Jiu-Jitsu?
So like when I won Europeans double gold, it was like, that was sort of a point where I was like, okay, this is where hopefully now things are going to start to go well for me in terms of like, I'd had a good run the year before that and I just felt a lot better in terms of like being in the lightweight division. I felt a lot stronger there. So I was hoping that after the double gold, I was going to like be a good like upward trajectory in terms of going to the World Championships that year. And then COVID happened, and that really put a dampener on things and kept me out of competing for a long time. So in terms of that, like I was just grateful to be there, to be honest, because I didn't know if I'd be able to get back to competing at one point, because of how bad things were, and then just how bad my mental state was. Even when things started to open back up, like I missed out on Worlds at 2021 in December, because I was just like, I could have gotten there. Like I'd have to do the quarantine in like Mexico and stuff. There were ways of me getting there though, but I was just so miserable that I was like, there's no point in me going. I'm just going to go and feel awful and I'm not going to perform at all. So I'm just really grateful that I managed to get my head back, I don't know, straight. Relatively straight, to be back competing where I felt like myself again.
Another really cool fact about your title was that you became the first ever British world champion. And I think that's a really cool thing. It really shows the growth of Jiu-Jitsu and how it's developing not just in the US and in Brazil, but all over the world. Can you talk about what that accomplishment means to you?
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Like when I made finals, I was like so happy because I was like, I know this has never been done before. I mean, there's only been a few people to even podium at Black Belt Worlds. All women, Vanessa English and Sam Cook, myself. There might be more now that I've forgotten, but those are the main three women from the UK. And I knew that was like as far as we'd gotten. So I was like, when I broke through to the finals, I was like, shit, this is this is pretty cool. Not been done before. And then I was like, okay, like refocus, thinking about trying to win now, not just be like happy with getting to the final. And yeah, it's really cool. I feel like there's so many amazing people coming through in the UK scene. And I think this will just help, like, so someone to look to be like, okay, it's been done. So now there's a pathway there. So it's obviously, it can be done. Whereas before it was just like, you look at that list of people, of the champions, and it's just Brazil flag, maybe one or two little American flags in there. But, no UK flags and definitely no Welsh flags. So it's like, it's really cool. I'm gonna put it in my bio on Instagram and be like, this. Everyone's like, yeah, plug it. I was like, okay, I'll plug that.
When you were coming up and watching the Worlds and watching the black belts, were there any competitors that you looked up to, any non-Brazilians or any other competitors from different parts of the world that really inspired you and made you kind of set this out as a goal to be the first British world champion?
I mean, loads of people inspired me. I wouldn't say like anyone in particular, like who's like done it from other countries, because there's so many, great people. But like a big inspiration for me throughout my jiu-jitsu was Luisa Montero, also lightweight division, because I don't know, she's just very like, I like the way she holds herself. She's very kind. I mean, she kicked my ass before when I first became a black belt, and she sent me like a really nice DM after, like encouraging me and being like really lovely. So that meant a lot because I loved her style and her jiu-jitsu anyway, but then she was also like a very kind, like she holds herself like a champion in like every aspect of life. So I really appreciated that. And then there's tons of women who I look up to. Adolfo Vieira is not a woman, but I love like his passing is what got me into loving jiu-jitsu. I used to watch his highlights on YouTube all the time. So his style, like I've tried to emulate as much as I can in terms of passing throughout. And then like a big inspiration for me this weekend was Isaac Doidline, who you're going to interview later. Because he's one of those people who kind of similar to me, like obviously he's amazing, but like he wouldn't maybe get the results that he deserved, and he'd like miss out here and there on getting to the final or winning worlds. And he's not like that person who like wins all the time and everyone's like, oh, like boring, but he's already done it a million times, you know. So like that was really like inspiring to see that him finally get that win that like he obviously deserves massively. So that was really cool just to see in general. Yeah.
So I wanted to take a step back and talk about your preparation for the Worlds, because I know your preparation was a little bit different for this tournament than for prior tournaments. You posted that you trained with JT Torres at Essential Jiu-Jitsu in New York. Can you talk about what it was like training at Essential Jiu-Jitsu preparing for the Worlds?
It was really cool. It was really nice to go into a new environment. Like originally when I went out to train in New York, I didn't know where I was going to train. I knew I was going to go around to each gym and just see how I meshed in each place. And then there's also things that I couldn't go to certain gyms because of like, you know, Worlds is coming up and people are in your division, so you don't want to go and interrupt that training. So I kind of went there like, okay, I'm just going to go and see what happens, because I recently left my old team. So I was just sort of like, I'm currently a nomad. I don't have a team. So I'm just going to see how this goes and hope for the best. And then I started going up there to train, and I really enjoyed it. And like a really big part of it was how positive everyone was and how much they just sort of just invested in believing in me and wanting to help me. And like, you know, without even me being like, I'm going to represent your team, they were just like, oh, they wanted to help me anyway. Like they just be like, you know, just JT would say after class and just, I could ask him questions, and same with anyone there. And it was just something I really appreciated. And so then I was like, well, I want to represent here and train here. And yeah, it really helped keep me positive throughout the preparation. Like I said before, like I've struggled with mindset a lot, and my mental health. So it was a good place to be in terms of getting ready. And especially as I had a not so great experience recently, like leaving a team. It was just refreshing, to be honest. And I'm really excited for the future of being there.
Can you talk about JT as a coach? I feel like he has a style that's actually pretty similar to yours. He has great takedowns, a great top game, really good pressure, good movement on top. Also has a really good guard too. But did that kind of help with your preparation, as with JT having a pretty similar style to yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've been a fan of his jiu-jitsu for ages. So that was really cool. And like I love like head forwards passing. That's his bread and butter. So that was perfect. I got tips on how to make mine a lot better. So that was cool. Obviously the technical advice was great. And then just like, you know, like the team pep talks at the end and at the beginning of class, things like that were just like really motivating. And obviously he's achieved so much in his career, and now leading up to ADCC, he's already won it twice and he's coming for a third time. So for me, I've not won it once. So I can watch and see how he trains and get inspired by that to hopefully lead me to the same kind of success.
That's amazing. So I'd love to go through your matches at the Worlds. I believe you had 4 matches to take gold.
Yeah.
In the first round, you faced Kristen Mickelson from Brazil 021, who's a great black belt. She had some really great results in the lower belts as well. Can you talk about that first match?
Yeah, so I knew she had a really technical guard. So like my whole sort of plan for Worlds was I was going to play top, but depending who it was, you know. And for that match, I was just going to go for like a quick blitz at the start, and which is what I did. I went. I think I tried to double pull and then came up for the advantage, just so you have something there to give you more confidence as you try to pass. You know, sometimes if you the whole mindset for each match would be to score first, because JT was saying that a lot in the gym. Like score first, be the first one to score is going to be the first one to win. Person to win the match, and the only one to win the match. So like be the first to score, and you're going to be the one who's going to win then. So I just went in really aggressive with that sort of mindset of I have nothing to lose here. I've never won Worlds, so might as well just go for it. And if I get battered, then it's it's like, well, there's been no change. I've never won it anyway. So for that match, yeah, I just went heavy on the passing. I stack passed quite a lot. She had a really good retention recovery, and then I passed. what happened then? I don't know. Oh, did I take it back? Yeah, I took it back and I got the choke. Yeah.
That's awesome. Your second match was, I believe, the quarterfinal against Victoria Vieira from GF Team. Really good competitor. I believe she got second at the Brazilian Nationals this year.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through that match?
Yeah, so I fought her before an AJP event, and I was able to get good position quite early. So I knew she'd be coming in like very aggressive because I know she's very good. And she came in very aggressive at the start. I pulled, and then she came in heavy on the passing. I was able to recover, and then I pulled into close guard. And then from there, I did a bump sweep. Linear fundamentals, lads. Sorry. I did a hip bump sweep, which is funny. But then I think she hurt her knee after I bump sweep to mount, and then I think maybe her knee went at a weird angle. So there was a bit of a pause there until she recovered. And then from there, I took the back and got a bow and arrow, like my tattoo.
Yeah, that was a great match. And then that got you into the semifinal against Margot Ciccarelli from Uni Jiu-Jitsu, another amazing competitor. I believe she's gotten second at Pans. She's made the podium at a lot of major tournaments. How was your semifinal match?
Yeah, that was tough because I kind of knew she has a very good lapel game. So I was kind of anticipating that because the last time we fought, I got the double. I passed like pretty quickly in the match off the double pull. So I did think, okay, this time she's probably going to slow me down with lapels, and I have to be ready for that because that sort of game I find quite frustrating because I like to just go. So when that will really slow you down a lot. So and I like to be like able to move around because obviously passing is my best sort of aspect. So she was able to wrap me up in lapels for a while, but I can't remember what even happened. I think I eventually passed, and then I took the back, and I think I lost the back at the end before getting the submission. But then it was just sort of I was up 7 points then. Yeah. So it was only like a last minute, and then I was in close guard, playing a bottom move.
And then that win got you into the final against Janaína Maia, who actually beat Natalie Ribeiro in the semis to get to the final match, which was a great win for her. Talk about that match. I know you went through a little bit of adversity. She had you in a really tight knee bar. Can you talk about the whole match and then how that knee bar felt, how it affected you throughout the remainder of the match?
Yeah, so I was able to score like the 2 early, and then she has to play like a lapel lasso game. Again, lapels, just for anyone who wants to beat me up, lapels are a great way to do it. I'm going nogi now, but then she was tying me up in lapels a lot. She was good at close guard. I was able to deal with a close guard, and then I was sort of like trying to unravel lapels. That's definitely something I want to go over. And then she got me in a knee bar like pretty early on, but I was up the 2, and I was like, I am absolutely not tapping. I was like, no. And like she had a really good angle on it, but like I was able to escape. I tried to kick through and come up on like a leg drag off it, but I didn't get the leg drag. So that was tight. It was definitely tight, but my knee's actually fine. I'm surprised. I was kind of, everyone was like, oh, that's going to hurt tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, it definitely must be the adrenaline. But I think I got super lucky in terms of the angle that it was more of a stretch than, like, obviously if I hadn't gotten out of that control, like it would have been on a lot more painful. But I think I got lucky in terms of the angle because I was definitely thinking while she was doing it, this hurts and I'm going to be sore tomorrow. So I got quite lucky in terms of escaping that. And then the rest of the match I was trying to pass. She had the lapels tied up. I was in knots. And then I wasn't able to pass, which is disappointing. I always want to try and get this finish, but at the end, like JT was like, be conservative. I was like, don't do stupid things, because I have such a tendency to get worried about oh my god, am I stalling? Am I being boring? And then doing something stupid and then losing. So I was like, hey, like this is Will's final. Maybe don't do a cartwheel or something stupid.
Well, that's amazing. You had such an awesome campaign, such a great run at the Worlds, and to become the first British world champion is such a huge accomplishment. So congrats again on that.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and you've talked a couple times about mindset and some of the struggles you've had, and I know mindset is a really important factor for elite competitors. Can you talk about some of the things that you were able to do to kind of overcome some of those struggles, and just give maybe some pieces of advice to people who may be going through something similar?
Go to therapy. Number one. I'm serious. Perhaps take medication if you want. I don't. But yeah, like obviously, I think for a lot of athletes, going to therapy is probably. No, it's definitely something that I think people should do more, and is maybe not really talked about so much. And also for a lot of it's expensive too, paying for it. So a lot of people can't even afford it, which is a shame. But yeah, like I like that was a more recent thing I started doing. But in terms of like after COVID, I think just sort of a lot. It took time to sort of enjoy competing again. Like I would go to tournaments and I was like, I kind of hate this. Like I never felt like that before with jiu-jitsu. Like I always looked forward to competing. It was always like my favorite part of jiu-jitsu. You know, the training is the best. I just love competing. I love that like going out there and trying to perform and that adrenaline rush that you get from it. But I wasn't feeling that at all for the longest time. When I went out last year to Nogi Worlds and I did who's number one, it was like that weird like I just like waiting for it to be taken away again, you know, because of the situation that happened. So that was like hard to overcome. Sort of like, will I ever enjoy this again, or am I always going to sort of feel miserable as I did it? But then when I competed at Worlds, I was like, I've never felt happier to be here, you know. So I was like, I've never been happier doing this. I've never loved it more, and I don't think anyone loves it as much as me. Like, you know, I'm not sure that's not true, but you kind of think that way to sort of get yourself in that good mindset. So I was just so happy doing it. I was so happy to be there, and I really did feel like no matter the result, like I'm just really happy with how I performed and how I felt during it. That I like really genuinely loved being there. So that was like such a nice change, because I was kind of like going through the motions and just hoping that that feeling would come back, and now it actually has. It's such a relief, and I know a lot of people probably can relate to that. I know I talked to a lot of friends who were like, I just like don't enjoy things I used to enjoy, and I was like, that's probably because you're a little bit depressed. But yeah, it's a good feeling to finally love it fully again. And all of my training leading up to, I was like, God, I just like enjoy this so much. I love this like lifestyle, and it really just made me think like, okay, the pressure is off here, because I'm enjoying what I'm doing rather than just being solely focused on the result. So yeah, like it took a while. I think a lot of it is just time to come out of that feeling. You have to just wait it out a lot of the time. But yeah, I think a lot of athletes should definitely go to therapy.
That's great advice, and I'm really happy that you got to a place where you were enjoying it and wanting to be on the mat at the Worlds. And I think that really showed in your performance and contributed to the fact that you won the gold.
So thank you so much.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. Is there anyone you want to thank or anyone you want to shout out before we wrap it up?
My new team, JT and Essential Jiu-Jitsu. Thank you for having me, for letting me represent. And then my sponsors, Progress Jiu-Jitsu, who support me to be able to even do this as a career. And they have very cool gis, so go buy them. And Improve Grappling, who do my S&T training as well. And just all my friends, family, all of them. They're great. I'll probably forget someone now.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys soon for another interview.
Thank you.